Hey everyone, I'm William Taylor with Second Chance Music and Production. I am a songwriter, I am a music producer, and I am also a mixing and mastering engineer.
And my name is Cameron. I am the founder of XCLEWSIVE Production and Media. I am a producer. I am also a songwriter, singer, rapper, arranger. And I think I'm somewhat of an artist development type person. That's just what I do. I bring out the best in artists.
So we came today, what we really want to do is we want to tell you a little bit about what we do and why we came together as far as a collaboration, and how this collaboration is going to help you as an artist, as a writer, a producer, whatever it is you do in the music and media. This production company partnership is going to help you, and so we want to talk to you about how it's going to help you. First, let me just start with myself. I got into music, I want to say, at a very young age, church musician, the typical, growing up in the church, wanting to be a musician. And then I started getting ideas as far as wanting to do music outside of ministry, meaning I had songs that were downloaded that I wanted to write. And I got more intrigued with music through band early in high school, and I just really pretty much pulled music elements from all different types of places. I grew up in a musical family, and so a lot of my roots, a lot of things that I do, it's all from different places. And so I love music. Music is what gave me what I call the second chance, hence the name Second Chance Music and Production. Came from me feeling like God gave me music as a way for me to come back to Him. And what I love to do about music, and what I love about music, is that it actually makes me feel like I belong in what I'm doing. So music, I've been doing music a long time. 2011 is when I actually started to do it professionally. I've been doing it since 2011, so we're celebrating 12 years with Second Chance Music this year. Did a lot of local artists, did a lot of writing, production, mixing and mastering, and so I think I bring a lot to the table when it comes to the music experience, but I also have a heart for it. And so we take it serious at Second Chance Music as far as your goals, your dreams, and who you are. And so we also do artist development, come how you are, and allow us to sift and change some things about you, enhance some things with you. And I think that with Second Chance Music and Production, we have some testimonials of people that could tell you that we just came in here to grind, to glean from each other. We believe in God. We believe in the power of what God can do through our gifts to change the world, change the nation. So that's just a little bit about me. I won't preach to you right now. I am a preacher, but we're talking about music. So I'm going to turn this over to Cam and let him tell you a little bit about himself.
Okay. Well, my story is not as straightforward with music. I have always somewhat been involved in it. I grew up singing in the choirs. My dad was the pastor of every church I went to up until college, so I was always in every choir. But I didn't like singing, and I wanted to play piano when I was young. I think I started out in like the first grade playing piano, but then my parents was like, "You either gonna play piano or you gonna play t-ball." So I took up t-ball, but I had the knack for keyboard and for piano. Excuse me, I always had that. So I, didn't really do much with it. In high school, I did join the chorus. We had what was called center stage, where it was like more geared around professional singing. So it was pretty strenuous. I did get some training there. I did actually go to college for voice performance at UNCG, but I couldn't take it serious because it was opera, and I just was immature. So I didn't really. I didn't really stick with it, and so I ended up like flunking out of school, going to the military, and I got back into music then. But now, mind you, I did played keys a little bit for Evangel for about a year and a half for the youth praise team and for the Deeper Life praise team, and that was before I went into the military. But the military was a period of straying for me, but I went into secular music and I got to travel, met a couple of celebrities here and there, but I never could go all the way with the secular field because it was like a word my mom had gave me, and I could always hear her saying, doesn't matter what you do, you're not gonna succeed until you do what God tells you to do. And so but I just really left music alone for a long time and got back into it once I got out of the military, and just had this up and down battle with music because I didn't really see the purpose for it. Especially for me, I wasn't money hungry, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't chasing the dreams, I wasn't chasing girls, none of that stuff. So what good was a music career for me? But the Lord really showed me how, in 2010, He really showed me how, I'm a prophet because of the musical gift that I had. And I, began to, take that in, but I couldn't really run with that because what am I supposed to do? I'm a prophet to who, how, but I did music, made songs here. I started doing mixtapes, actually. He told me I couldn't run from what he told me to do. So I started doing like mixtapes, I used to put out a lot of stuff on my own. I did my own graphic design. Well, I had to because I couldn't pay nobody. But I put it down from about 2015 to about 2020. Just was in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong person. And so, but the Lord began to deal with me in 2020 and 2021, and I got back into it. Moved back. I was in Pennsylvania at the time, but I moved back to North Carolina, and all roads have led me here. I got married again. My wife is actually recording her album here, and just in fellowshipping and working with her, Pastor Taylor saw something in me. He was like, I want to work with you. So, here we are. And I bring a lot, you know what I'm saying? I didn't, I've worked with some artists, I've written for some people, I've produced, but, it's not nothing major. But there are people on iTunes that got my tracks, or, I have written some stuff for them. But my thing is really just bringing out the best in other artists, hearing things that could be, and just bringing a different ear, because I think you'll hear by what we're gonna put out there, it's not gonna be like anything you've really heard before.
So me and Cam decided we wanted to get together. We wanted to tell you guys a little bit about what we do, and also how we can help you. So we're going to do a series of questions and answers from each other, just to let you guys know what it is that we do, and also how we can help you. So I'm going to start with a question to Cam, and then he's going to follow back with a question with me. So the first question I would ask Cam would be, I know you said that back in 2020 you started getting back into music full-fledged. So what I would ask you is, the time that you weren't doing music, did you miss it?
Oh man, I can honestly say kind of no, because I had lost the love, and it's more than just the relationship I was in. Like where I learned from Apostle Lockett before he passed, where the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. And I see a lot of that in the music industry, and that's on both sides, gospel and secular. So where there's not a purpose, like I said, abuse is inevitable, and I didn't see myself fitting into what was out there. There's no space for me. So it's like, why do I need to, why do I need to involve myself in this? Now, granted, it still was in me. I would find myself making beats here and there, right, but then I'd stop because it'd be like, for what?
Right.
What am I going to make a beat for? I don't want to put it out. I'm not trying to be nobody's artist. So, but the thing is, when it's in you, it's in you, so, and eventually, like I said, I felt like God corrected me and said some things to me to, put me back into using my gifts. And like I said, here we are. But I'm getting the love back.
I guess so.
You know what I'm saying? But it's more so stemming for my love for God, though.
Gotcha.
That's the biggest thing, because without Him, I don't have a purpose for doing music. I could have signed a deal back in 2010, that's a whole nother testimony. But I could have already been out there, big time. But the Lord had dealt with me before I even knew that somebody was going to call me about getting the deal. The Lord had dealt with me that morning and said, be true to me. And when that phone call came, the words rang loudly, and here, so I could only be true to what He told me. And so if I'm going to do music, it's going to be for Him, period. Like there's no other reason to do it.
Yes, sir.
So I guess that just makes me wonder, for you, what's your, biggest motivating factor for doing music?
Oh man. and I'm gonna say this, I know my wife's gonna be like, but I often say that music is all I have. And she'll say, well, you got us, and and I do. I love my wife, I love my family, I love ministry. But I'm gonna tell you, with music, to me, music was a place of foundation for me. I grew up not really feeling like I belonged in places, family, even in church. Like I felt like I was trying to do things to belong in an environment. And for me, music was like the worship place. Music was my safe haven. Music was the anti-drug. Music was the anti-prison. Like everything that I did, music made me feel a certain way about myself. I had low self-esteem. I dealt with major depression growing up. And music was like the way I talked, the way I spoke. So I would sit in my room, I would skip school, I wouldn't go to school, but I would just be on the keys, or I would just be creating something. And it made me feel good about myself. So it kind of was like my place where I could go to escape. And so I've always took that with me as all I have, because I felt like music is an actual being for me. It is a person. It is a living, breathing thing that is with me.
Gotcha.
And I think God created that with me, because it was like, man, it was just something about being able to sit down and write a song and record it and hear it played back that made me feel like I accomplished something. Right. It just made me feel like, even if nobody else heard it, if nobody else cared, or nobody else liked it, for me, just hearing it back was like, oh, you did that. Or it might not even been good, but just the fact that I did it and it was just what I felt. A lot of times I would write songs based on real life. Like what I would write, I wouldn't put it in a category or genre of gospel or whatever, but it would be it would be basically what I felt and what the Holy Spirit would inspire me to write, as far as me just writing something from the tablets of my heart, like what is going on with me, as a way to, like almost like a counselor.
Right.
Music was like counseling me. Like I was going through depression, so I needed to write about it so I wouldn't act on it. So I write, or I would, have confrontation in the home, or I just wasn't, felt like I was good enough. I dropped out of high school when I was in the 10th grade. My father had died in prison, and it just kind of shook me, because I was always believing God to do a certain thing. Sometimes we make God's plans for Him. And so we tell Him what we need. Oh, God's going to do this because we believe Him to do such and such or whatever. And so when my father passed away, it kind of shook my world. And I just didn't know how to cope. I didn't know how to cope with it. My mom, she put me into seeing a psychiatrist. I wouldn't talk. I stopped talking for months. I just didn't want to deal with nobody. I didn't want to be with them. But it wasn't like my mouth was muzzled. It's like I chose not to use words because I just didn't want to be. I didn't want people to know what I felt or what I dealt with, because I didn't want them to care.
Wow.
Not that they didn't care. I didn't want them to. And so those years for me musically was like my foundational years. It's like I learned how to capture emotion in sound. So it was like I could play a certain chord and you knew how I felt. It was like it was like I was dialogue between me and my instrument. And so that built Second Chance Music. Like the name Second Chance came from that, because that I really felt like God had given me a second chance at living life the way that I needed to through my music. It was like the gateway. It was the connector to me preaching the gospel. First, I had to understand, the other gifts that I had and how they connected me to Christ. I started off in obligation, playing for church, playing for ministry. Obligation turned to relationship. So, but I never lost the ability to capture emotions in sound. So, for me, I felt like when anybody walks away, music will be there because He placed that inside of me. I will do that till I die. And so, when you ask me that question, music for me, I can't see myself not doing it. Because it's always been there in the place when I lost jobs. I mean, the equipment that you're seeing now, some of the equipment was being birthed in when I lost my job. I was working a really good job and lost my job and was taking the unemployment and buying equipment piece at a time each week, just trying to stay alive. Like buying equipment, learning how to figure stuff out. Recording was like keeping me alive because I couldn't focus on depression. So I'm trying to figure out on YouTube how to work this machine. So that's taking up all of my time, and so I don't have time to be depressed. I need to figure out how to do this. So it was like, it just helped me so much. So music for me is more than just what you hear. Music for me is how I live. I love to create music that glorifies God. And so if it's glorifying God, then I know that it's something that's going to glorify or help me in the earth realm. So I'll stop with saying that music for me is all I have. It is the basis of all I have, the foundation for everything that's built through me. Music is that. All right, so Prophet Cam, I know that you are the executive producer of Exclusive Production and Media. Mm-hmm. But what I want to ask you is, what is it about you that's going to make Second Chance Music better? This collaboration, what do you bring that makes this better?
I'm the best to ever do it. I'm the greatest of all time. Like, my experience is vast as far as the types of music, first of all. I grew up in a Baptist church. That's all we got to listen to was gospel music. But then when I hit college, that's when I started being able to branch out. Now, mind you, like I said, I went for voice performance. I got in at UNCG. Now, UNCG is like one of the top schools of music in the nation. So you don't just get in there. And I got in on talent base because I couldn't even read music. But I couldn't take, like I said, I couldn't take the opera serious. But I started listening though, like, this is different. I started getting into jazz a little bit, and I was like, oh, I like jazz. Hip hop for some reason has always been a thing. Like, I just kind of always, when I first heard it, I flocked to it. And I remember my mom caught a tape. I had dubbed a Snoop Dogg tape and rapped over top of it. She's like, I better not never hear that again. But I always got it. I always had this affair with rap.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I never wanted to go the same way with rap that everybody else went, even for sounds. Like I always like to try to put the orchestral sound behind my stuff to make it sound really big. So there was that. But just being around, being from North Carolina, there's a lot of musicians, a lot of good musicians in North Carolina. Right. You know what I'm saying? I grew up around them. When I went to the military, like I told you, I was with my homeboy Gordon. We were traveling back and forth to Detroit. We had some dealings, with people up there musically. I don't know. I'm just me. I'm just different. You know what I mean? And my thing is, like I think I said earlier, is just bringing out the best in other people. I've always noticed that I will have a knack. People will be like, I got a song and I want it to sound like this, and I'm kind of able to go ahead and be like, oh, okay. But at the same time, I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. Like if you come to me and you're like, can you make a beat like, I'm gonna be like, no, go get such and such to make that beat for you, because they already doing it.
Right.
Like if we're gonna create, we're gonna create. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna brainstorm, we're gonna, mess around with the sounds until we come up with something original. Like I don't like referencing other people's stuff unless there's like a sound that I'm like a sound. I'm drawing from a sound, not the sound. You see what I'm saying? And I just bring uniqueness, really, and the unwillingness to sound like everybody else. I think if you've heard, I've had one of my friends that listened to my Versus project, and what she said she liked about it was that every track sounded different, sounded like somebody else produced it, yet I could hear you in all of them. And so that just speaks to the vastness. Like I'm gonna do a little jazzy stuff. I might do some I love choir stuff. That's the other thing. I got to do some choir stuff before it's all said and done, because I've always loved the choir sound. I've never had the capacity and the you know, the ability to, not skills, but just like the equipment and the space, you know,
Absolutely.
to bring that many people together and, you know, do something like that. But I think with what we're doing, I'll be able to do bigger things, and that's going to be the other thing. Like you're bringing me to a space where I can actually spread out a little bit.
Yes, sir.
So I could tell you to go listen to my stuff, but you haven't heard what's about to come forward. Because just like, what is it, like sharks or, you know, certain fish, they can only be as big as the tank they're in. But the more space they have, like a goldfish, you put it in a bowl, it's gonna be like this. But you put it in those rivers, like you see at the Japanese restaurants, and they look like huge catfish and little sharks swimming around there, you know. So this is gonna, you know, I can tell you what I brought, but you haven't seen what I'm gonna bring.
Okay.
But having said all that, that makes me want to know, you know, like what did you see in me though that made you? Because I was shocked. I ain't gonna lie, I was shocked when you was like, man, I want to bring you on as executive producer. It was kind of like, what? Yeah, it's, you know, kind of out of the blue, but I accepted it, and you know, I'm curious to know like what you saw that made you say, hey, let's get this guy.
Okay. Okay. And so it's two things with me. Two things. The first thing is I admire the fact that you are skilled but wasn't looking for an opportunity. And what I mean by that is a lot of people come around people to do certain things because they want them to see them in a certain area and open certain doors. So they're intentional, but there's almost like they're opportunists. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna do this because I know that if I do this, they will do this. Mm-hmm. And I say that because we were in a session with you and your wife. And your wife, you know, she man, she's phenomenal. You know your wife, man. She sings. She's just phenomenal. Her voice is amazing. But this particular session, man, not only was she phenomenal in singing, but she trusted your ear. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, you know the note. Well, Cam, can you sing this right? Or Cam, is this right? And it's like you would just jump in and immediately like start arranging, or just like start telling her what notes to hit, or just the placements. I think you should just hear, and your creativity was crazy. So on a song where we were doing worship, and we don't, of course, create worship to entertain people, yes, but yet, because we are music lovers, we do want to hear something that is entertaining, because we don't want to just, you know, put something out there, because even God, you know, he's crafty in how he created his world. Right. He didn't make everything one color. He didn't make everything one size. Right. So it was like just hearing how you created within a creation. The song was created, but then within the creation, you created the backgrounds, it was just crazy. So I told my wife, we had already been looking and just kind of, not actively looking though, but just kind of looking for someone to help with production. I needed another eye. I needed some more ears, because I know that the season that I'm in right now, my sound, my voice, my critiques, it's going to take more than just me. No man is an island. Right. So I needed some other people that could help strategically craft the sound that we're creating, you know, to put it in different places. I need another ear. And I'm the type of person where I love constructive criticism, and I love to be told, this, if you do this, this will be this. I'm not the one that has all the answers or has the formula. Yeah. So I had prayed about it, like, and just keeping it real with you, I pray about every move that I make. Mm-hmm. There used to be a time, man, where I'll just make a move and then pray later and found myself in a mess. So even in my business, like, I don't preach to people, and I'm not trying to be super spiritual, but if you're not praying before you make moves in your business, you're crazy. Because God has, everything that I want to do, it needs to be strategic. And I have an outcome and a goal. Right. Like, so I don't want just anybody. I just don't want a producer. I don't care how good and how crafty, how skilled they are. I need somebody that works well with me, works well with the vision that God has given me, and can also add to what he's given me. Right. So, man, I prayed about it, and I told my wife, man, that morning I got up, I said, man, I keep hearing Cam's name. And I was like, you know, she was just like, and my wife, she's very protective of our company, because she's seen how I'm one of the type of people that help and yeah, man, let's do this, go join, and then they drain me, or they're using, and it's like she's left with trying to build me back up confidence wise, because people have come in and taken or stolen or whatever. So let me say it like this. I got up, man, and I was hearing your name, and I said, babe, I keep hearing his name. She was like, I think he might be the one. My wife, and she co-signed before I even really told her what I was going to do. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to throw it out there and just see how he feel, where they at with it. And man, like your response to me was like, I'm giving you an opportunity. And I'm like, man, you don't understand. No, you're creating an opportunity for me, because we're only as strong as we're willing to grow. And so what I see you adding to what God is already doing for me is even beyond music, man. Like, I just see so much, like the connection to brotherhood, man. Like, we can get so much done together simply because we respect each other.
Right.
And just the session's been crazy. Let me tell y'all, the sessions are crazy. When we get together, man, I'm telling you, like your arrangements and just your musical knowledge, and the knowledge that comes with just on the fly, like not pre-rehearsed. Like we come in, you hear something like, you know what, I keep hearing such and such, let's try this. We put a note in there that maybe not would fit traditionally, but it works. I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. So for me, man, it's just your authenticity, who you are. You came in, man, you just came in wanting to help your wife, but you were super talented, and I'm like, yo, I need something like this on my team. We're family oriented, man, and so just the fact that how you cater to your wife in the sessions, how you all work as a unit, like that to me is all love, man. I don't see a lot of brothers that are with their wives in the studio coaching, not just coaching, but encouraging and strengthening. Studio can be kind of crazy sometimes, with the singing the same part 50 times because you can't get it right. You patting her on the back, babe, you got this. It's like, it's natural for you. So I wanted to be around someone that made me feel like that was my brother. He want this for me like I want this for him. So when you came on, it was like, I don't want just Cam. I don't want it to be like you joining Second Chance. No, I want it to be like Second Chance and Exclusive are merging together or coming together as one unit to build on that. It's not that I'm trying to take you from your brand. I'm trying to add to your brand, and I want you to add to my brand so we can be team. We could be teammates in this. You know what I'm saying? Batman and Robin and music. They be like, yo, you got to go to Second Chance. That's Batman and Robin. So that's my thing. That's my thing. Making sure that we come together, and what you bring, man, I haven't seen. Quick, I hope that you all enjoyed what we had to bring to you tonight, talking about different things in regards to our music, talking about also the collaboration between us. But I want Mr. Cam, the producer, executive producer extraordinaire, I want him to tell us about the project that we're getting ready to launch with Second Chance Music.
All right, so listen, guys, we are coming together. Basically, this is a rebranding project as well as a collaboration with local artists, and actually we got some people out of state that's already signed up. But here's the project. It's called The Kingdom Sound. It's going to be an EP of about 8 songs, 7 to 8 songs. It's basically just to showcase, well, first of all, to glorify God always. That's why it's called The Kingdom Sound. We're trying to bring something that hasn't really been heard through our collaboration, and we believe that's exactly what's going to happen. So we want to collaborate with artists that we know, artists that we don't know, and just create something around God, around each other's gifts and strengths, that's going to just really highlight our talents, but highlight the talents of the people who are going to be, coming and joining in and singing. So it's going to be exposure for them. It's going to be rebranding for us. It's going to be a showcase of really not just what we have, but what this area and the artists have to offer, period. So we'll be coming together. We have, basically, you're going to be able to send us a video to our emails, and we'll get that to you later on. Either emails or tag us in our TikToks. If you want to be a part of it, and we're going to just go through the videos, look and see, who we want to utilize, check out their styles and their sounds, and we're going to create around what we hear. It's going to be phenomenal. Right? That's all I'm going to say. Some of the other work that we've already done, and we're already shaking our heads and blowing air, so I'm trying to tell you, you're going to want to get on, and if you can sleep if you want to. You're going to get awoke when we drop that EP, and the showcase is going to be next year, and we plan on dropping the EP next year. So just be on the lookout for Second Chance and Exclusive, because we're going to do this, and it's going to be big. It's going to be really good too.
Well, with that being said, look, William Taylor with Second Chance Music Production. We thank you so much, Prophet Cam and I. We thank you for allowing us to speak to you about so many different things that are going to happen. Look, if you want to reach out to us immediately, look, check out our website, www.secondchancesound.com. Hit us up for all your production needs, songwriting needs, any studio needs you have. We are able to accommodate you, and we look forward to seeing you also.
This is an Onyx Urban Media Group production.